Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Casual Coffee with Ken. My name is Ken, and this is my morning show where I try to bring you interesting, sometimes inspiring, but generally just fun, lighthearted news to counteract all the negative news that we get on mainstream, local, and national networks. So, thank you for choosing to spend your time with me this Monday morning. Monday, April 6th. So it's April, and as with a lot of people, just had to recently pay my rent. That's kind of a touchy subject, so we're not going to spend too long on that. But just know that if you're having problems paying rent, you are by no means alone. And as I get more information on the various resources that are available, although you probably already know about them if you're finding yourself in a situation where you're having some issues paying the rent. But as I come across them, I will talk about them here, and I'll link to them down in the description box on both Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. I guess, well, Twitter's a different beast. I could still post them there. They just won't be part of the post that contains this video, I guess. That's the way this works. So anyway, I'm rambling. I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. I hope all of you got the chance to do something, whether it was maybe getting outside to go for a walk for a little bit, get some sort of exercise in, or maybe you just stayed indoors and binged something on Hulu or Netflix or Amazon, or maybe just watched some of your DVDs, played a game. We're all kind of learning to rediscover things to do in our isolation. And it's been interesting. Like, for example, a couple weekends ago, my friend Rob hosted a game night on Twitch through, you could either play along on the computer or, like I did, you could play on your PS4. And there was like 5 of us all playing these games that were they were multiplayer games where each person playing from home could interact, whether it was to do something almost Cards Against Humanity like, where you tried to sell the other people in the game the idea that something you were saying was true, even though maybe it wasn't, that kind of thing. And there was, automatic scoring and everything. It was a lot of fun, basically. So, and that's something I don't know that I would have ever known about had it not been for the fact that Karina and I had to cancel our monthly game night here at the apartment because obviously social distancing. So that was really fun. And Rob, if you're watching this, we need to do that again soon because that was a blast. It was a lot of fun. So anyway, I hope everyone is doing well today and that you had a restful weekend. The tea today, let's see here. I don't think I've talked about this before, so let me actually go to the trouble of finding it for you so I can show you. As much tea as I drank, I should have probably named the show something other than Casual Coffee because I really just did that for the alliteration of the name. I think it's fun, but I really do drink a lot more tea than coffee on the show. Let's see here. Okay. Yep, this is it. Obviously, I am not going to be... I'm not buying these by the case, and I'm not advising you to either. But today I am drinking the wild blueberry with acai, and it is delightful. It's kind of tangy. And it has the flavor of blueberry, and it has, when you get those blueberries sometimes that are really fresh, but they're just a little sour. It's like that. So it's a very good tea. It's an herbal tea, so it's caffeine free, and it's really hard to oversteep. So you can forget about it by accident, and uh, and that's fine because when you come back to actually drink it, it'll be fine. It'll still taste really good. So if you're in the market for a new kind of blueberry tea that maybe you haven't tried before, I would suggest the wild blueberry with acai Bigelow tea is fantastic. Okay, so let's go ahead and speaking on tea. Now, I did promise you guys last week that I would do this. So, we're big fans, Karina and I, of loose leaf tea, and we normally steep it in the metal infusers. But sometimes you just don't want to deal with that. Sometimes you don't want to deal with rinsing them out and throwing out the loose leaf tea into the garbage and all that kind of stuff. So, and maybe you want to take the tea with you, but you don't want to have to take the metal infuser with you as well. So this is where these come in really handy. And they are by a company called Betty Betty, and they are tea filter bags. So it's your own disposable tea bags. You can see how big they are. Now they have white ones and unbleached ones, like the one you're seeing here in this image. Really simple. You just fill them up with tea and then cinch them closed. And there you go. So you could take your loose leaf tea with you wherever you go. Like if you want to, when we're all cleared to go back to work, you could take some of your loose leaf tea with you in these tea bags, and they're really cool. They come in a package of 100, and they're so easy to use. I mean, you just take it, you just open it up like that, and then you put the tea in there, and then you take this, and then you just cinch it closed, and there you go. There's no tag on here, so be careful that you don't lose the whole thing in the cup. Because fishing it out is a little bit trickier when there's no tag like you have with commercial teas. Okay, so I've rambled on and on now at length about tea, but I wanted to show you guys that because I promised last week I would do so. So let's get into the first story, and this is a fun one. Cats are wonderful. Everyone knows this. Cats are amazing. And dogs, I've seen dogs do this before. I've never seen a cat do this, and it was just too cute not to share with you guys. So this particular cat wanted to make sure that her stuffed animal got fed. So she brought the stuffed animal over to the food bowl with her. And you can almost hear her talking to the animal. Isn't that the cutest thing ever? Look at that. She was so intent on making sure that her buddy got to eat. Her buddy wasn't left out. That was just, I loved it. So I saw that. Maybe you've already seen it, but in case you haven't, I thought, what better way to start off a Monday than seeing something that cute. And oh my God, it was so cute. So there we go. I thought, perfect way to start off a Monday. Now, on this next story, it surprised me. Not because of the subject, which is anxiety and depression. A lot of people who otherwise don't feel, who otherwise might not have anxiety, or maybe discovering a little bit more anxiety in their lives because of the coronavirus thing. And good morning, Sean. Nice to see you. And so on this story here, there's a particular person who's decided to help the best they can in the situation for people. They've given their phone number out, so you can call them if you're feeling down. The thing is, this person is not a psychiatrist or even a psychologist, as far as I know, but they are a public servant. And in this case, it's this Tennessee Congressman, Tim Burchett. Or maybe it's Burchett. I'm not sure how he pronounces it. But he posted his private cell phone number on Twitter and said, if you're feeling overwhelmed or scared or just want to talk, give him a call. We will get through this together. So that's pretty good. He did this, it looks like, on March 30th. And at the time this article is written, which was on April 5th, he had received over 1,000 phone calls and 2,000 text messages. And they go on to say here that some of the calls came in as late as 1 a.m. And I think this is brilliant. I mean, obviously, he's not a licensed therapist or anything, but he's not claiming to be either. He's just putting himself out there to help people as best he can. He says, people are just scared, and I think they just want to hear a comforting voice on the other end of the line. And some of the people who are calling him want him to check on one of their friends. So, I mean, he's getting all sorts of response to this, and I think it's incredible. We hear a lot of negative stories about politicians in general. So it's nice to see a career politician, a public servant, kind of stepping outside what they normally do to try to reach out and form what is possibly the most important kind of connection with their constituents. I think that's commendable. I don't know anything about this congressman. I don't know what their politics are. Don't know what they might have voted for or against in the past. But credit where credit is due. This is inspiring to me because he didn't have to do it, obviously. And I don't think that someone who didn't genuinely care about people would do something like this. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. So it's really inspiring to see people in all walks of life stepping up to help out during this pandemic, and good job. Kudos to him for really kind of stepping outside his wheelhouse to reach out to people and not just his own constituents. So I thought that was worth sharing with you guys. Okay. All right. So this next story is definitely weird. It's fun, but it's just weird. Okay. We all know that weddings can be very stressful. There's lots of planning that goes into even the smallest of affairs, unless you are going down to the justice of the peace with like 3 people. That's pretty much as simple as it gets. But if you're going to have any kind of a traditional wedding where you have full-on ceremony and you invite a whole bunch of people and you have the reception after, it can be a nightmare. Well, as you might expect during these troubled times, there are a lot of weddings that are getting postponed. So the way this couple dealt with it was, I must say, very unique. They still had their guests in attendance via proxy. What do I mean by that? Well, I will show you right now. Cardboard. All other guests were made of cardboard, as you can see in the picture. And those are some very professional looking cutouts, you would say. And you would be right. Because they actually teamed up with Menasha Packaging Company in Coloma, Michigan. And the packing company was so taken with the idea that they said, yeah, we'll not only give you the cardboard to do this, we'll help you make them. And so one of the designers there at Menasha Packaging Company named Ted Harris said, yeah, not only will I do this for you, but I'm going to make it look a little bit more realistic. So, I mean, his template, as you can see, includes like pigtails, and you can make out the shapes of ears and like cowlicks on the hair and different types of hairstyles. And there's a lot of work that went into this. As it says in the article from Time, they made cutouts to resemble guests tall and short, young and old, with long hair, short hair, and ponytails. So there you go. They still had an audience, sort of. And I have to think that this was probably one of the quietest, most chill wedding ceremonies ever held. So everyone remembers their wedding day, more or less. I think their wedding is definitely going to stand out forever. How would you ever forget that your entire wedding was attended by cardboard people? Yeah, I wonder what their photos look like. I wonder if they went as far as hiring the photographer and maybe taking pictures with the bride and her. I wonder if they did like cardboard bridesmaids. Wouldn't that be fun? I really want to see their wedding album pictures. Can you imagine having those hung up on your wall? That would be fantastic. Anyway, cute story. Wanted to share with you. I thought that was a brilliant way of going about things, and well done to the packaging company that really just stepped up and went above and beyond just because they thought, yeah, that's a fun idea. Certainly didn't have to do that. Didn't have to agree to doing any of it, but that's fun. So awesome. I can make a really bad dad joke right now, and I'm not going to. You're welcome. Okay, so as we all know, the medical industry is facing some shortages, not only with equipment like PPE and ventilators, but also in personnel. There are not nearly as many doctors and nurses as a pandemic like this requires. So a lot of previously retired nurses, PAs, RNs, doctors are coming back and joining forces with all the other practitioners to fight this thing. Well, if you're in Ireland and you go see the doctor, there's a chance that you might see your prime minister, because the prime minister in Ireland has decided to get back into medicine. I'm not going to say his full name because I can't pronounce it. I can't pronounce that first name. But his last name is Varadkar. Middle name looks like Leo. Leo Varadkar. I'll try it. Tausich, maybe, is his first name. Anyway, he's the Prime Minister of Ireland, apparently, and he was a doctor for 7 years before leaving his medical practice to go into politics. And he was removed from their medical register in 2013, according to the article on the Irish Times. And hello, Yubu Spice. Thank you for watching. Since you're new here, if you wouldn't mind telling me where in the world you are watching from, that would be awesome, because I'd like to know where my audience is, because that's the fun thing about doing something that's live, is you get to interact with people from everywhere. And Scotland, fantastic. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. That's really cool. So yeah, just talking a little bit about this story of Ireland's Prime Minister jumping back into the field of medicine to help out. And that was really cool in my estimation. So he's going to rejoin the medical community, and he's, according to the article, is set to work within the health service on a weekly basis in an area suited to his qualifications. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but yeah, that's really stepping up. That's something I would not expect to see from the leader of a country. But that's brilliant that he's doing it. I guess they put out, their health service put out an appeal last month for all, quote, all healthcare professionals not working in the profession to register. And it worked. Some 50,000 people applied to go back into practice in less than 3 days. So in a time where there's a lot of divisiveness, right? And there's a lot of political shenanigans happening, especially in the United States, unfortunately, because we don't really have our act together at the moment. To see this kind of leadership is inspiring. And again, I don't know anything about his personal politics, and I feel bad that I don't know more about world governments. I am unfortunately like many Americans, and I tend to stay locked in my bubble of what's happening here. And I know I need to get better at that. But when I came across this story, I wanted to share it because it really is inspiring to me to see someone who is, the leader of their country, not only doing everything that they need to do legislatively, but having skills of a medical nature, decided, you know what, I can help in this way too. So kudos to him for stepping up and doing that. I thought that was inspiring. I thought it was well done, because again, he didn't have to do that. So I think credit where credit is due. It's a good thing. Okay, and this last story has nothing to do with coronavirus at all. Let's see here. Charles Dickinson. Hello, Ken. Love the show. Glad to see you doing good. Well, thank you, Charles. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I'm glad you're here. So this last story, real quick, is, again, has nothing to do with the coronavirus. I wanted to not just talk about that, although obviously it's what everyone's talking about. But this is really fun. Um, mercury toxicity in contaminated water is an issue. And cleaning up water supplies that are contaminated with mercury is a very expensive process. And we have enough problems ecologically that we can't really ignore finding a solution to that, because clean water is always valuable. There's a couple of researchers that are pretty close to creating what they are calling microrobots that can remove toxic mercury from wastewater, thus making it fit to drink. But the way they're doing it is very bizarre, not what you would expect at all. They're doing it from pollen. They're using pollen to help remove mercury from wastewater. So, as the article on newscientist.com notes, wastewater from some factories contains mercury. And there do exist techniques right now to remove the mercury from that wastewater in water treatment plants. But as noted, it is time-consuming and usually very expensive. So, Martin Pumera at the University of Chemistry and Technology in Prague in the Czech Republic and his team are working on something that's admittedly much more low cost than the standard water treatment plant. They found out that some pollen grains, quote, have natural tendency to absorb mercury. So what they're doing is they are attaching particles of platinum to one side of each pollen grain. And then when they add the modified pollen to water contaminated with 0.2% mercury by mass, with a little bit of hydrogen peroxide, the hydrogen peroxide reacts with the platinum and moves what they're calling the microrobots, which are the grains of pollen, through the solution, through the water. And after 2 hours, every type of pollen, they used a few different kinds, had absorbed at least 80% of the mercury. So that's very encouraging. So they're working on enzymatically powered microbots to see if they can kind of perfect this whole thing. And that's brilliant. Who thinks of this kind of thing? Who thinks, gee, I wonder if pollen can absorb mercury? And then who thinks to attach platinum to the pollen and then put hydrogen peroxide in there to move it around? I don't know. It's out of the box thinking. It's brilliant, and it has the potential to do a lot of good. Because unfortunately, we have factories, we have wastewater that needs to be cleaned, and this could be a very low-cost, efficient way of doing that. So yeah, I thought that was fun. And it looks like, oh gosh, we're down to, let's see, it's almost 10 o'clock. I want to show you this really quick because it's fun. There's a YouTube channel called Art Insider, and there's this guy who paints 3D letters, and it's just fun to watch. So I want to share that with you really quick. I mean, look at this guy go. It's just incredible. Love it. His name's James Lewis. You can find him over on Instagram, as it says here in the video, based in Wales, and that's just incredible. I have said before, I I can't draw a straight line with a ruler, and this guy, it's just amazing what he can do. Just creating 3D letters. As it says, he starts off doing it in pencil, paints over it using something called a maul stick to help keep his hand steady. I don't think I could do that even with a maul stick. I mean, how many hours and hours of practice must this have taken him to get to this level? And he teaches workshops all over the world, it says. Anyway, I thought that this was just fun. So yeah, that's a fun channel over there on YouTube called Art Insider. You might check them out. There's all kinds of fun stuff over there. Some of the other things I've shown you previously have come from that channel. Really good channel, just to distract yourself with. So real quick, good mornings before we leave. Good morning, Dina. Glad to see you caught me too. And hi, Dad. Very glad to see you made it as well. But that's it. It's already been a half hour. I can't believe it's gone by so fast. Yes, it is very fun and super cool. I agree. Do me a favor. If you had fun today, if you enjoyed the show, after the live broadcast is over, it stays up as a video both on YouTube and Twitch, on Periscope and Facebook. If you wouldn't mind sharing it with your friends, let them know there's this guy in Reno, Nevada, who has a morning show that's completely focused on positivity and just helping people start their mornings off in a more positive light. I'd appreciate that. So yeah, that's it. You might have noticed we're on a new time schedule now. I put out a video announcing that, but just in case you missed it, it's going to be from 9:30 Pacific time all the way 9:30 to 10 o'clock Pacific time, Monday through Friday. Just tweaking the schedule a little bit to hopefully help my sleep schedule, which has been sadly lacking recently. But that's it. Thank you again for joining me. I hope everybody had a good time. And I'll see you back here tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Pacific. Until next time, I'm Ken McKim. Thank you from Scotland for watching. I appreciate it. Hope to see you tomorrow. And remember, when you have the chance to be anything in this life, be kind, because kindness matters now more than ever. All right. Take care, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.